In a dark alley in the Mafia village of Sydney, a group of deadly Mafia men gathered and surrounded a man who was beaten and tied up. "Please, second boss, I didn't do it. The drugs were missing before I got there," the man pleaded as he pointed at the empty briefcase that the drug was supposed to be in. One of them, who was the most superior, held the pleading man on the shoulder and said to him, "Rick, when Cal comes, you will regret existing in this world." At the mention of the name Cal, Rick's face was filled with fear. "Please, don't call boss. I will replace the drugs. Just give me a little time," Rick pleaded again, this time with more urgency. "It is a little too late, Rick." "Where is he?" a cold voice calmly asked, stepping into the circle. Please, boss, he pleaded. "Stand up, Rick," the man ordered. Rick stood up and faced him. The man held Rick's neck and asked him, "What is the thing that I despise most, huh?" "Incompetency?" Rick answered, shaking violently. "No, betrayal," the man answered. At the speed of a light, the man dipped his hand in his pocket, took out a gun and shot Rick in the forehead. The body fell limping to the floor. "Take his body to the zoo. Kelly will make it useful," the man said, and started walking away. "Cal," one of the men called and went to where he was. "The meeting of the bosses is tomorrow." "Really, in that case, you will represent me," Cal said to the man. "But Cal," the man began. "There is no but. I have exam tomorrow and I wouldn't miss it for anything. Make sure you go with the executives." "Okay, boss," the man replied and went back to the gathering. Cal continued walking, but just as he wanted to leave the alley, he turned and said to the man he had just discussed with, "Make sure that what happened does not repeat itself again, Edward." "Yes, boss," Edward replied. That was Calvin Dennis, the secret leader and owner of Leo Group, the most deadly and dangerous mafia group in Australia. Their group logo is the head of a male lion. Calvin has a personality that is in between cold and warm. He had just got rid of a fly that wanted to infect him. And believe me when I tell you that his heart is made of stone designed with thorns. "It is 7 o'clock, time to wake up," the digital alarm clock said, trying to wake its owner. The owner tossed and tossed but didn't wake up. But after 5 more minutes, she jumped up like someone controlled by a remote and ran to the bathroom. That was Dorothy Benson, a fresher at Bremford University in Sydney, Australia. Today was her first day at school, and she needed to go early so that she could check her name and see what course she had been given. She came out of the bathroom and hurriedly dressed. As she was about to leave, her phone began ringing. She picked it up and it turned out to be someone that works at the university. "Hello, is this Dorothy Benson?" the person asked. "Yes, it is," Dorothy replied. "Congratulations, you have been given admission to study quantum mechanics at Bremford University in Sydney, Australia. You have to be at school today to collect your entrance number and correspondence it," the person explained. "Did you just say quantum mechanics?" Dorothy asked. "Yes, any problem, ma?" "No, it is fine, thank you so much," Dorothy replied and hung up the call. Dorothy sat on her bed and began to think about the phone call. "No," she thought. "The person must have made a mistake." She needed to see her name before confirming anything. She bought a cab to school, although cabs are quite expensive and would make a huge dent in her savings, but she didn't care. When the cab stopped at the gate of the school, Dorothy went down, paid the driver, and rushed to the school notice room. Many people were there looking for their names. The names were arranged alphabetically, so she went to the D section immediately. She found her name, Oakle, and behold, it was the same course the caller told her was written there, and she was the only one given the course. As she stood there looking at her name, she saw her hopes, dreams, vision, and her life shattered to pieces. How on earth did they give her the hardest course in the world, she thought. The course, only 0.05% of people could handle the course. When she found out that staring at her name wouldn't change anything, she reluctantly left the notice room and started going towards the school gate. She came out of school and went to the bus stop to wait for the bus. 2 students who were also waiting for the bus were discussing the entrance names. "One student was given quantum mechanics," the girl said. "What?" "Yes," the first girl replied. "But they haven't given it to anybody for the past 4 years, right?" the second girl asked. "Yes, it seems that this person is very intelligent," the first girl replied. Dorothy smiled. If these girls that the very intelligent person that they were talking about was poor, hopeless, and confused about her standing here, pretty sure they would take back their compliment. There, she thought. Very intelligent, my foot, she muttered. The truth was that she was far from intelligent, not to talk of very intelligent. She was actually second to the very dumbest person in her class at high school. So how can she do it? Quantum mechanics, if she is that dumb, and that was her problem. The bus came, and she got in, and it drove off. It reached the next bus stop and stopped for the people there to get in. 4 fashionable and classical-looking girls got in and took the seats in front of her. When they were seated, they removed the matching cap they wore. They all dyed their hair different colors. One was pink, the other green, the other red, and the last person blue. The quantum mechanics girl is now trending at Brimford, the pink-haired girl said. Yes, she is quite lucky that she will be in the same class as Cal, the green-haired person said, holding her heart. Keep crushing on him, he will never notice you, the pink-haired girl said to the green one. Hey Lydia and Kala, cat got your tongues? The pink girl asked the blue and red half-haired girl. They both turned to her and said, don't want to talk, and continued pressing their phone. Rude, the pink-haired girl muttered and kept quiet. Wow, so I am now trending because of the course I was given, Dorothy thought. She needed to find a solution to change the course, and to her dream course. And rewriting another exam won't be an option because she spent almost her savings of 5 years on writing this one. Dorothy reached her house feeling so heartbroken and confused. How would she go about with the course she was given? She decided to leave the matter and go to her part-time work. You lazy, smelly, chicken-legged girl, you will be receiving half your pay this month, Dorothy was shouted at. Immediately she arrived to the restaurant where she worked part-time. She looked at her wristwatch and found out that she was only 5 seconds late. It is not fair, Lady Palm. I am just 5 seconds late, she said to her boss. If you think it is not fair, then go find somewhere else and work, Lady Palm shouted at her again and threw an apron at her. Get to work, she told her, and disappeared into the back door. Dorothy went and dropped her bag and changed her clothes. She went to the reception and took some orders and went to the kitchen to get them. I need 3 burgers and a Coke, 6 packets of French fries and 6 Coke, she told the chef. You want to serve my customers? Lady Palm asked from where she was sitting. Yes, I guess so, Dorothy replied, wondering why she was asking her such a question. No, you are not. Go to the dishwasher and start washing. I can let you. Downgrade my restaurant, she said, and collected the order booklet from Dorothy. Dorothy didn't say a word but went to the dishwasher and started washing the dishes. She always endured everything her boss did for her because the work was paying well. When evening approached, Dorothy started preparing to leave. She dressed and left the restaurant. As she opened the entrance door and wanted to walk away, when a fluffy hand held her. She turned around, and it was the human-sized teddy bear that they used to attract people to their restaurant. The teddy bear removed its head, and it was Mia, Dorothy's best friend. Hey Doro, are you okay? You seem troubled, Mia asked. I am fine, Dorothy replied. No, you don't look fine. What is the matter? Mia asked again. Okay, you know what? Let me go and change, and then we talk, she said and rushed inside the bars. After 10 minutes, she came out dressed in normal clothes. Let's go, so she said to Dorothy, and they started walking towards the bus stop. Now talk, she ordered Dorothy. I have been quantum mechanics on a course, she replied. What? Mia exclaimed. But how? That course has not been given to anyone for the past 5 years, Mia said. Yeah, I heard some students saying it, Dorothy acknowledged. That course is very hard. The last time I checked, only 1 student was reading it at Brimford. Only 1? Dorothy asked. Yeah, Mia replied. Mia, I really don't know what to do, Dorothy confessed. Here is what you will do, Mia began. Go to school, make inquiries about that student that is studying it, and team up with him, she suggested. Or I could just change the course, Dorothy added. Well, the 2 options are good, just do the one that will work for you, Mia advised. Okay, thank you so much, Mia. You are welcome, Doro. They had arrived at the bus stop and waited, so they sat down and waited for the bus. The bus arrived a few minutes later and they got in. They both alighted at the same bus stop and went their separate ways. The next day being Saturday, Dorothy went to the school administrative sector to change her course, but they couldn't help her because the list had been submitted to the Ministry of Courses and cannot be brought back. They told her if she didn't like the course that she should write a report and write the entrance exam so that they would not give her the same course. Dorothy thanked them and left the office. She went to the school cafeteria and bought some bread and milk. She called Mia on the phone and told her she needed to see her. Mia agreed and went out. "I need you to show me the quantum mechanics student," Dorothy said to her. "No worry, follow me," Mia replied, and started leading her towards the school library. They went inside the library, and Dorothy was amazed by how big and orderly it was. Mia took her to the most isolated part of the library and pointed at an insanely handsome guy writing something in his book. "That's him," she said. "The quantum mechanics guy?" Dorothy asked. "Yes, Calvin is his name, but he prefers Cal," Mia replied. "One more thing, don't ever—" The rest of Mia's words were cut off as they heard a loud thud. They looked at where the sound came from, and it was a girl that fell on the floor. "Take your stupid cookies," Calvin spat coldly, throwing a cookie jar at the girl. It seemed that the girl offered him the cookies and started touching his hands, and he pushed her. "And that's what I was about to tell you. He despises girls," Mia explained. "You don't mean it." Dorothy looked at the girl who was there. She was already on her feet and was very pretty and gorgeous. If he treated this gorgeous girl this way, what would he do to me? Dorothy thought. "But don't worry, you might get lucky," Mia said to Dorothy. She looked at Mia as if she had lost her mind, and Mia started laughing. "You should see your face," she told Dorothy. "This is not funny at all, Mia," Dorothy said. "I know, but your face is," Mia replied, still laughing. "Get out," the librarian barked at them, and they ran out of the building. Just as they were about to go out of the door, Calvin looked up from his book and smirked. Dorothy and Mia came out of the library. Mia was still laughing. "Like seriously, you are still laughing?" Dorothy asked. "I really can't help it, my dear Doro," she replied. "Well, continue laughing. I need to go and rest," Dorothy said, and started walking away. Mia came and gave her a hug back. "I thought you were still laughing," Dorothy asked. "No, I am done," Mia replied. Dorothy turned to her and said, "None of the two options was fruitful." "That is a lie. We haven't done the one I suggested," Mia interjected. "Well, the one you suggested is a death sentence," Dorothy replied. "No, it is not. How could you say so if you haven't tried it out?" "Okay, whatever. I need to go home and rest," Dorothy said. "Okay, bye. Rest well," Mia said, and ran to her class. Dorothy then went home and took her rest. She went to her part-time work in the evening and came back. When she was preparing to sleep, she took the course booklet and stared at it, and made up her mind to approach the Calvin guy and ask him to help her. With that determination and courage, she went to sleep. By 5 a.m., Dorothy was already awake, and she started preparing for school. She started going to school when it was 7 a.m. The buses had not begun their work, so she took a cab. When she arrived at school, she went straight to the quantum mechanics lecture room. Calvin was already there, and of course the only person there. Dorothy went and took a seat. Immediately the projector screen came alive. "Good morning, students," the man on the screen greeted her. "I can see we have a new student. How do you do, miss?" he asked Dorothy. "I am fine, sir," she replied. "My name is Professor William Smith, and I wanted to tell you guys the topics you should focus on for the coming quiz," the man said. "Excuse me, sir, but why are you not present here physically?" Dorothy asked. "Well, me and the other quantum mechanics professors are all on vacation because our only student doesn't need us," he replied. "And I believe you don't need us either," he asked. "No, sir," she replied. "Okay, back to what I was saying. I have sent the topics to your email, but I want to personally say it to you," he said, and began listing the topics. Dorothy did not hear anything he was saying, because all her brain was screaming was, "Quiz, quiz, quiz, quiz." A quiz on a course she knew nothing about. What will it produce? Catastrophe, of course. "Hey," Calvin shouted, bringing her back to the present. "Class is dismissed. Leave," Calvin said to her. Dorothy packed her stuff and walked out of the door. Just as she had taken a few steps, she turned and ran into the class, bumping into Calvin in the process. Calvin's eyes turned to slit because he hates body contact with girls. "Please," Dorothy begged and wanted to touch him, but remembered he hated girls. but she got on her knees and begged him. "Please help me. I really don't know anything about this course. I promise I will do anything you ask me to do," she pleaded. Calvin just looked at her and laughed an evil laugh and left her there. She stood up, cleaned her knees, and went to the school library and took out every textbook about quantum mechanics. She read and read, but she couldn't understand anything. Tired and frustrated, she parked all the books and proceeded to put them back when a heavily built man blocked her way. "What?" she asked. The man didn't say anything, just handed her a note and left. Dorothy went and kept the books and opened the note. It said, "I want to learn. Meet me at Lilo today's evening at 5 o'clock. Cal." The note was so short and direct. Does that mean he will help her? She thought. She happily came out of the library and went to the cafeteria where Mia was eating lunch. "Guess what?" she asked as she took a seat. Mia dropped the burger she was about to eat and replied, "You won the lottery?" "No." "You got followed by your favorite celebrity?" "No." "You got a short that actually fits you?" "No. I forgot about that. Let me tell you, I talked to him and he agreed." "Wait, what?" Mia exclaimed. "How did he say it? Did he say yes or of course or no worry or I got you, babe?" Mia asked, trying to imitate his voice. "Well, technically he said I should meet him at Lilo," Dorothy replied. "Lilo?" Mia asked. "Yes, you know the place?" "Yes, I do," she replied, grinning. "It is a restaurant for couples," she added. "Couples?" Dorothy asked. "Yes, I think he likes you." "Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Doro and Kat are in love," Mia exclaimed. "You are insane. He can't possibly like me happen," Dorothy said. "Those things happen in movies and fairy tales," she added. "Enough with the downgrade. Let's talk about what you will wear," Mia said. "What will I wear?" "I am not going on a date," Dorothy said. "You know what? Why is my house key?" "Go and stay there. I am coming. Hope you don't have classes today?" Mia asked. "No," she replied. "Then it is settled," Mia said and started walking away. "Where are you going?" Dorothy shouted at her. Mia gave her a thumbs up and continued walking. Dorothy went to her house and waited for her friend to come back. Half an hour later, Mia came back with almost all the clothes in the world. She threw some at Dorothy, saying, "Try these." "Don't you have classes at school?" Dorothy asked her. "That is not more important than my best friend's first date," she replied, going through the other clothes she had bought. Dorothy took her clothes and went to the bathroom to change. After she was done, she went out and Mia clapped her hands. "That looks perfect on you," she said. "It is too short," Dorothy complained. "No, it is great. Okay, why don't you wear this jacket and spice it up?" Mia said, giving her the jacket she also bought. Dorothy wore the jacket, looked at the standing mirror, and was amazed by the beautiful and breathtaking girl she saw. "Wow, I really look good," Dorothy exclaimed. "Well, compliments to the stylist, Mia." "You are not a stylist," Dorothy said. "Yes, I am. Now get going. It is almost 4:30, Mia said, pushing her at the door. "I could have applied makeup on you, but you look more beautiful this way," Mia said. "Okay, thanks, bye," Dorothy said, and started walking towards the street. "Bye," Mia replied and went inside her house. Dorothy went down the street and arrived at the sidewalk. She hailed a cab. The cab stopped and she entered and told him about Lilo restaurant. The driver nodded his head and drove off. He drove Dorothy to the restaurant and stopped. "We are here, miss," the driver said to her. Dorothy paid him and alighted from the car. She stood there staring at the beautiful restaurant. It was so beautiful. She checked the time. It was 4:36 p.m., so she was early. She opened the door of the restaurant and went in. All heads turned and stared at her, both male and female. She scanned the room and saw Calvin at the far corner of the restaurant and started walking towards him. "Hey girl, want to join me at my table?" a handsome guy asked, blocking Dorothy. Before she could reply, someone whistled, and the guy moved out of the way quickly. She then walked to Calvin's table and sat down. He dropped the book he was reading and asked, "What will you give me if I teach you quantum mechanics?" "Anything you say," Dorothy replied, not thinking twice. "Marry me," Calvin blurted. What do you say? Dorothy asked, not believing what she heard. Be my wife and I will help you, he said. Like real husband and wife, she asked again. Calvin chuckled and said, Don't worry, there won't be any intimacy between us. My family is pressuring me, so I just want to get married and have a rest. But don't worry, you will benefit very well from the marriage, he added. So it is more like a contract marriage? She asked. Call it whatever you like, he replied. So what do you say? He asked her. I agree, she replied. That is perfect. A waiter will come and take our order, he said to the waiter. Dorothy had made up her mind to learn that course, and if learning it would make her be involved in a marriage contract, she didn't mind at all. And besides, he said no intimacy. What could possibly go wrong? The waiter brought all kinds of dishes for them, and Dorothy's mouth watered. Being a foodie, she immediately dug in, not minding that everyone was watching her. Calvin watched as she attacked the food and smiled. What is your name? He asked her. Dorothy swallowed the mouthful of food in her mouth and answered, Dorothy. Dorothy, but I will call you Doll, he said. Doll? She thought. Mostly if people want to call her name in short, it is basically Doro, but this one chose Doll. It's quite strange, she thought. So what is your own name? She asked him. My name is Calvin, but I prefer to be called Cal, he replied. Cal? Dorothy muttered and went back to her food. When they had finished their food, they went out of the restaurant. Thanks for the food, Dorothy said. You are welcome, Calvin replied. I will be going now, she said to him. Wait a little, Calvin said. Just then a black Audi came and stopped in front of them. Calvin went and opened the door. Get in, he ordered her. Dorothy just stood there staring at the magnificent car until Calvin came and pinched her. Ouch, she exclaimed. Are you not getting on? Calvin asked. I will, she replied. Calvin followed her, and the driver drove off. Dorothy was still amazed by the exterior of the car, but when she got inside the car, she was beyond amazed. Everything in the car screamed money and good quality. The inside of the car was very beautiful. She kept admiring the car that she didn't know when they stopped at her house. You are home, Calvin said, jolting her from her admiration. She looked at the open window, and truly they were in front of her house. How did you know where I live? She asked him. I have my way, he replied. Dorothy then alighted from the car and went inside her house. Calvin stared at her until she was inside, then he told the driver to drive. The driver drove away without hesitation. He drove back to the restaurant and Calvin got down and entered the restaurant. He went straight to the kitchen. His men were drinking there. He went to one guy and gave him a punch. The guy fell to the ground. Calvin then took out his gun and pointed at him. Please don't shoot me, Grand Boss. I didn't know she was yours, the guy pleaded. Calvin looked at the guy on the floor and withdrew his gun. He then said to him, Next time you want to invite a lady to join you, you had better ask questions. You are lucky I am in a good mood today. If not, you would have been a dead man, and left the kitchen. How does it feel to get closer to death, Jerry? Edward asked the guy on the floor, stretching his hand to lift him up. Jerry collected his hands and stood up. Not bad, he replied, and they all burst into laughter. I really don't know that she was the one, Jerry confessed, dusting his clothes. I think you just know that your womanizing brain didn't figure it out, a guy called Alex said, laughing. I guess you are right, Alex, Jerry agreed. All right, let's get back to drinking, Edward said, and they all continued drinking.